Afternoon, everybody. You all able to hear me okay? Yeah, fantastic. So my name is Bobby Hyam. I'm a solutions engineer with Glean. And we're here today to have a little fireside chat with Igor, who's joined us from one of our customers, JetBrains. And we're going to talk a little bit about how JetBrains have implemented an enterprise search and AI platform. And to get us started, Igor, do you maybe want to just tell us a little bit about your role, what you do at JetBrains?
Yeah. So I'm actually with JetBrains for almost 18 years now, and I've changed several roles. I've been several years in our product, which is our CI/CD server, TeamCity, and then I've changed, and now I'm in internal IT at JetBrains. So I'm participating in several internal services and tools from the engineering side and helping some of our teams to deploy internal services.
Cool. So what were the sort of problems that were going on at JetBrains that led you to look at an enterprise AI search solution?
Yeah, so actually, for several of our colleagues, so we formed a small team which we called internal knowledge management team, and we were actually tasked with the improving of the knowledge sharing within the company to make us more productive, to ease the sharing of the information. And that so we ran several surveys to understand what's the problem and is there any, and we found out that a lot of our colleagues actually have difficulties locating the information, so finding the information that they need in their daily work and where to start searching for it and that stuff. So that's how we got involved.
I see. Okay. And so you, like many of our other customers, presumably have data in all different places, in Slack, in Jira, in Confluence, and all different silos like that. So people end up using all their time looking across those different places. So one thing that I hear from customers when we start talking to them about Glean is you come in and we say to them, we're going to connect to every piece of data that you have, and we're going to index it all and make it available to an AI. And normally that's when you see the whites of the eyes of the security guy. So I understand JetBrains IP is obviously very, very highly regarded and protected. So can you talk a little bit about how you overcame some of the security hurdles with getting the enterprise search and AI solution connected to all your data sources?
Yeah, so we talked with the different vendors and we assessing their security posture at the pre talks. But then when we wanted to go with the trial with Glean. At some point we just run it through security and our legal stuff. So one of the important pieces for that, the Glean, was providing us a very extensive set of the documentation, like the security assessments and the certifications, and that was very helpful when our security assessed the solution. And actually, from the first so our security tried to talk us into trying the Glean on the not in production data, like some trials. But it's quite hard to actually assess your solution for searching your internal data on the artificial information. So we tried to connect it from the day one to our production knowledge, production systems. And so we had some hard time, but finally we found in top executives who were interested in introducing the solution in the company, and they were understanding that it's bringing more benefits, that it's produced some risks, and so we managed to pass through security with the involvement of the commitment of our managers. Yeah.
Right, yeah, cool. We always try to do our pilots in production, because if you do it on test data, then nobody really experiences the benefits of a search product. Yeah. Right? Nobody's really interested in searching through those test cases. So what was it about Glean that made it a good fit for solving your problem? And I guess, did you even consider building your own enterprise search solution before looking at other products?
Yeah, actually, so it was not our first idea to introduce Glean to the company. So first, when we knew that there is a problem with knowledge sharing, we started to value our options. What can we do? So we do have a lot of different systems where information is stored. It's like the Slack, Google Documents. We have some old wiki style. We also have our issue tracker and the knowledge-based system which we produce, which our product, the UTrack, and we need to connect all that to Glean. First we just understood that no single system fulfills can store all the information. So we need to build a new one to actually serve as an entry point so the people can start there and then get routed to the specific systems. At some point, we actually even participated in internal company hackathon and building a catalog of the most useful links where people can select what they are interested in and then get some links and then got some traction. So we got an internal hackathon trophy and it showed that the people actually see value in the systems like that. Then we considered, okay, so how do we get that new system which rolls to all the others? And so we approached some of our colleagues because we do tools for software developers. So some of our colleagues are actually building indexing tools and they search for related to software development. But those systems they're indexing more of the source code, the code bases, and then they're interfaced to the IDEs. And they also fully tasked with the providing solutions for our end users. So not that much interested into building our internal solution. And also we've talked with started to talk with different vendors to understand what's there on the market. And we also understood that it's not something we can do just quick and dirty and get the good results because producing a good product like that requires a lot of effort. And so we've got a great support from guys from Glean who will showcases us the system and help to hire management within JetBrains. So we actually was sold to purchasing the system and using it inside the company.
That's good. Well, I'm glad you didn't take the time to try to build it yourselves. We've had a lot of customers try to do that. In fact, we had a large ride-sharing company told us that they were going to go and build it themselves, and they came back a year later and said, "Okay, we've tried. We've wasted a lot of money, and now we're going to buy Glean."
I can imagine that can be the case.
Yeah,
right?
It's a pretty complicated problem to solve. Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about user adoption. What did you do in order to get your users to actually use it? Because one of the big failings of a lot of these enterprise AI solutions that get deployed is actually getting people to change the way that they work and start using the new tools. So how did you go about that?
Yeah, so we actually did several common approaches to that. So we did the launch demos. We provided some instructions. We also approached specific teams to understand how, what they use the most, what systems they use the most, how to connect them to the enterprise search to get them the value of the system. What was working good is actually the offline events. So we've made several events when we created people and just did some demo, and they were tasked to create their own agents or they make use of the system. That was resulted in some spikes of the usage of the system. And also, probably as usual with many systems, so the active colleagues who felt the value of Glean, they were acting as champions. So that was great. It's promoting the system within JetBrains to make their co-workers on board and use the system effectively.
Yeah, I think with any new tool actually, but especially with AI tools where you get a whole spectrum of people who are different levels of familiarity and comfort with AI, it's really a cultural thing as well. It's how do you make it really accessible to them and show them that it can aid them and make them better, and that it's not going to replace them, that it's going to increase their output and make them more valuable to the company, not less valuable.
Yeah, that's right. And actually, so initially we're actually not searching for AI tool. We're searching for enterprise search, a single entry point to all the connected data sources. But then AI feature was like we wanted it to be there, but it was not our goal. But then I actually was personally amazed how easy it is to use the AI features in Glean. Just a click away. And when deciding on after the trial, when deciding on going with Glean for the production use, it was actually one of the considerations. So we can actually bring the AI tooling closer to everyday's people needs. So they go to the system to search for something, and then they end up using AI, which answers their questions.
Yeah, very cool. So can you talk a little bit about where your teams are seeing the most value? Like, what are some of the use cases that you've seen people, really adopting in anger and getting a lot of value from?
Well, there are many, and they're probably a bit different in different teams. For example, I've seen some effect of Glean, of the reducing of the message in our Who channel. So we have a channel in Slack when everybody can come and ask who does that? How can I find the proper person to do that? And since Glean maintains the people data and their people's activities, those people who start to ask those questions in Glean can end up actually getting the answers and the relevant colleagues faster. Though Glean integration with Slack, where Glean actually propose an answer right in Slack, and the person who sees it can actually post it for everyone to benefit. It's quite a useful feature. So we had some really good feedback. And we are actually starting to experiment more with the creating Glean agents, which can be configured with the customized instructions and like selection of data sources used to be more effective on the answering specific questions in specific areas.
Yeah, very cool. That Slack example that you gave is really cool, and I hear good things about that from pretty much every single one of our customers. Yeah. Just the benefit of any of you who maybe are not familiar exactly with what we're talking about. This is a problem that many of us have, where people are constantly asking the same questions in public channels in Slack or in Microsoft Teams or in Google Chat, and the same colleagues then have to pipe up and answer the question. So Glean will actually monitor the channel and will interject and offer solutions to questions before anyone has even had a chance to go and research what the answer is. So you can really cut out a lot of that activity right before it's even created any work for anybody. And that is one of the ways that we sort of force our way into the workflow of users, so that they don't even really know that they're adopting a new tool. You sort of sneak it in there.
Right. That's the easiest. It's just one click away, or sometimes even without the click, and people just see there's a message from Glean. They just inquire what the tool it is, and then discover what it can provide for them.
Yeah, cool. And so enterprise search is where you started. You're also using agents now?
So we are not yet fully deployed. I mean, everybody's JetBrains can create new agents in Glean. There is a setting for that.
Oh, you open it up so everybody in the company can make an agent if they want to.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So we just decided that. So we just locate the most extensively used ones and then work with the authors to promote them and to make them like in the first place. But anybody can create those agents.
Okay. And how are you promoting them?
Still yet like embracing it. But basically we have a channel in Slack where we post some updates and news about what Glean is, and so we're encouraging everybody interested in the working with the system to join there. So there are some updates in there, and just by word of mouth, it's also working.
Yeah, that's cool. In our team, in our sales team, every week we have our weekly huddle, our team meeting, and every week the first item on the agenda is a salesperson has to show an agent that they've built to help automate some of their own work. And it puts the pressure on, because salespeople aren't the sort of people you would normally expect to be the ones building agents. But I have to say, they show up every week with something new and interesting, and I'm really impressed with what they built so far. So
Great.
Cool. So what would you say is the most valuable agent that you've seen deployed at JetBrains so far?
Well, I'm not sure about the most valuable. The one that I do know is that we have actually an employee guide about everything at JetBrains is an employee, and it's structured with the offices. So we have different offices, different countries, and the different offices have different policies. And we found out that the default search sometimes is not that reliable in terms of determining the location and the related information. So we build a specific agent who actually considers the location of the user and the location of the relation of the information to the office, and that agent is by providing better results.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. Because I guess an HR function is typically centralized. You don't have HR in every single country, so when a query comes in, you then have to figure out where that user is so that you give them the right answer.
Yep.
Now the agent can go look that up. Yep. Based on the user's location. Wow, that's pretty cool. And what's on the roadmap now for you? Are there any specific areas of enterprise AI where you want to take this next?
Well, there is a lot of the things that we want to experiment with, and so we try to understand what are the needs of our colleagues. And so right now, one of the prominent topics is that people get overwhelmed by the daily influx of the information. So want to experiment more with the kind of like daily summaries or some like highlighting the most important topics that people need to look into, like for example the next day. And something like we would also be great to look into proactive agents that are activated not on a user question, but like by schedule or like in the background. Yeah, that's something on our roadmap.
Awesome. Yeah, I don't know if it's actually been made available to customers yet, but we have a couple of very interesting agents that work in exactly that area that look at the work that you as an individual are currently doing, where we will go out and we will find all of the things that you've committed to doing in your Slack channels and your emails and all those things, and create a to-do list for you. And also, and this is my favorite one, it will go out and find all the things that other people have committed to you so that you can go chase them up when they don't do them. Yeah. So that'll be rolling out and available in your Glean very soon if it's not already available.
Cool, yeah.
Cool. So just to wrap this up, and we'll take a couple of questions. What are the biggest lessons you learned through this process of acquiring an enterprise search product? And if there's anybody out there who doesn't already have an enterprise search product or an AI platform and they're still building agents in silos, what sort of advice would you give them?
Yeah. So I'd probably say that so before trying to improve the AI part of the things, it's quite important to make sure that your search is working good. So the basic, because the AI is mostly limited by the context it is fed into. So it's just important that your search is actually reliable, good ranking, and fast as well. That's also very important. It's also quite important to select a system which fully embraces the permissions model of your data sources. Because that's not every system actually can map all the permissions. Just take only general available content. It's just important to select a system which understands all that. Also, in terms of like introduction in the company, it's quite important to get more champions on board, which is your driving force to expand adoption within the company. And probably one of the most important things is that you should actually care about the data that you are feeding into the system. So no answer can be better than the sources of the information. So you should have a good plan to improve the underlying data sources, the underlying knowledge in the company. And it's great to foster the culture of actually knowledge sharing and keeping it up to date and in a good state.
Well, that doesn't stop you from getting started, right?
Yeah, you can already see, and sometimes actually the systems like the search can highlight the problems that you already have with your knowledge. So you are in a better position to go solve and improve that. Yeah, that's right.
So I'm really pleased you mentioned the search element, because when we connect to all of these systems that you're talking about, even in a mid-sized company, we're now connected to billions and billions of documents. And it's really difficult to figure out the signal from the noise. And I'm sure if you walk around this trade show floor, you'll see many companies that are now saying that they do similar things to what Glean does. And it's very hard for us to get across how important this is and how much of a differentiator it is. But being able to figure out across those billions of documents, where is the authoritative source? Where is the one that you should listen to when people have copied documents over and over, when people have had side conversations in Teams or Slack where they don't actually know what they're talking about? And that is not part of the system of record, right? That is not a conversation that we should be trusting. And Glean does a really good job with its knowledge graph of figuring out what is the right information in all of that noise.
Right. Yeah, ranking is very, very important topic. It should be got right. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you, Yegor. We'll take a couple of questions from the audience. I think we have a mobile microphone coming around, but just raise your hand if you have any questions.
I hold it or you hold it? Dead on. Hi, thanks very much for the talk. To see in Glean, how do you keep the sort of sensitive data in all the Slack chats separate from the data source that you're scraping? So conversations about work and all are all fine, but then if there's strategic initiatives, could I, as an L1 entry job, have access to the knowledge of the C-suiters, or how does Glean separate all that information out?
That's a great question, because I'm sure the first thing people will be going in and asking will be, who's getting laid off next month, or how much do my colleagues earn? So no, we've solved those problems. So we first of all, we ingest all of the permissions from the underlying systems. So in the case of Slack, we know which conversations you're in and which conversations are private from you. When we look at documents, Confluence permissions, or Microsoft 365 or Google Drive permissions, we will only ever give documents in search results or an AI-based answer based on data that you personally have access to. Further, when we talk about Slack and Teams specifically, by default, we only crawl information that is in public channels, and users can choose to opt in for having their private information crawled. But again, the answers will only ever be based on data they have access to. So if it's in your personal email, not your personal email, your work email, but you haven't shared that with anybody else, then they won't see it either.
Yeah, so actually Glean is quite good in mapping the permissions information in Glean. So it actually fully replicates the permissions of the underlying system. And it means actually that all the people actually get different results in Glean because they are based on what they actually see in the original systems. So our security team was very picky about that, but it's great that Glean has actually implemented this approach because we had found no flaws in that so far.
Yeah. They were. They actually gave us a really hard time, your security team, I think. Another one, follow-up?
I have a bit of a follow-up. So then your systems rely on other systems exposing the permissions levels. Are there any things you've come across where permissions levels weren't distinctly defined and you're still sourcing data, or no?
Yeah, obviously we are limited by the APIs that are put out there by other vendors. So, some other vendors don't make our lives easy. Having done this for 5 years, there's some that we engineer around. We try to build all of the connectors to the maximum level of functionality that are possible, but some of them just don't expose that information. So a really good example is Notion. Notion doesn't expose permissions over their API. But with recent collaboration with them, we have found another way where we can now query Notion data and observe all of that stuff. So our team is constantly looking for workarounds and ways that we can do that.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Another one down at the front here.
A question about the indexing process itself. So beyond the data sources you connect to, so core things like Confluence, Jira, etc., do you tend to rely on things like central glossaries, taxonomies to help the classification work in the first place?
Like a taxonomy of what your internal
business processes, who your teams are, what they do, etc., to give context to the stuff you're finding.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's an interesting point that you bring up, because there's a lot of language that's used inside a company that would never have appeared in any large language model training data set. Everyone has their own terminology, their own acronyms, all sorts of definitions of things that are really important for understanding, what the relationships are between all of the different things that we see. And so we don't just use a large language model. We're using a whole different range of techniques to index and map out the data that we're indexing. But one of the things we do is we train a small language model based on BERT on your data. Okay. And again, another thing that brings the security guys, makes them sit up in their seats is, oh, I don't want you training a model on my data. But what we do is we offer Glean running inside your cloud. So if you're on GCP or AWS or Azure, we run inside your project, and we'll use Amazon Bedrock or Vertex AI to actually run that training. So that model and your data never ever leaves your environment, right? So we can train small language models, understand all the taxonomy of your internal language of how you talk about everything, and use that to further our understanding of how things are done in your company. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Okay. I'm being showed the clipboard. So Yegor, thank you very much for joining us. I'm delighted to welcome you to the family of Glean customers. And if anyone wants to come by and see a demo of Glean, we are in a booth just around the corner there to the right. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. I'll get shot for that. But just follow us around the corner. I'll be happy to show you. Thank you very much.